Hi, I'm Dr. Meg, and today I'm going to be covering a question I get a lot, which is something to this effect. Hey, I'm going to be touring colleges with my kid next week, and we're going all over the East Coast. Should we visit Harvard? Should we visit Yale? We're going to be in California. Should we visit Stanford? I have lots of strong opinions on this. Stay tuned. So my first bit of advice is try to get really clear on the difference between tourism and college visits. College visits are a really specific thing, and you're working with, usually students have limited energy. They're in one of the busiest times of their lives. And so even though it could be a really cool, fun, interesting thing to say, go visit the colleges founded by British monarchs, Harvard being one of them, St. John's College in Annapolis being another, um, that sounds really cool to me, but maybe we do that at a different time and have the college visit or the college tour be a very focused time where we're really just trying to focus on where a kid wants to go, where they're going to thrive, and where they have a good chance of getting in. I often speak with parents who think, well, what's the harm? It's kind of fun. What's the harm in them, going to see it, maybe applying? They're a good student. They have a chance, maybe. And one reason I don't really like this philosophy is because I think that these places are designed for students to fall head over heels in love with them, particularly Brown. Everyone who seems to go to Brown falls in love, but also Harvard or Yale, Stanford. Stanford, too, is a really big one where it's dangerous to visit because it's very beautiful. And I see there being a lot of harm actually in the student really getting their hopes up and then getting on the early decision train. I think it can do a lot of harm to a student who is quite ambitious and they know in the back of their head that there's not a good chance of getting in, but it can set off this whole process of really getting fixated on one school and then kind of like neglecting the schools where I think they would actually be happier, thrive, get more aid, do everything. And the kid, I see them oftentimes not really focusing on those places or really getting excited about them because they're set on Brown or Harvard. So it all starts with the visit, usually, in my experience. My third point about visiting these places is that old adage, the medium is the message. Most parents I work with, they don't want to put pressure on their kids, but simply visiting can communicate something to a kid that sometimes it lands a little differently than the parent thinks that it might. So the parent is just like, well, let's just see, no pressure at all. I never put pressure on my kid. But simply visiting can put pressure because then the kid has been there, they've felt the energy of the school, they've set foot on the campus, and it's like more real than it was before. It's not a theory anymore. And I've seen it really turn up the pressure for kids in the college admissions process. My last point about visiting aspirational schools is that I find students these days to be teetering on burnout. And especially when it comes to visiting colleges, my suggestion with parents is just watch your kids' energy, like try to protect their energy, and less can be more. So adding in something that is not, now this is different if your kid is valedictorian of an extremely competitive high school, then maybe visiting an aspirational school makes sense. But I'm talking more to the families where it would be like a super, super reach and they would need to use, legacy. Maybe one parent went to grad school at one of these places, but legacy is kind of going away. And I just think most of the time it's a much better bet to just say, let's go visit that another time. Let's have that be more like we'll go as tourists. And let's just really focus in on the places where you have a really good chance of getting accepted and that you can get excited about. Let's work on that. So my last point about all this is if you're really not sure if a place like Yale or Harvard or Brown is within reach, reach out. We could set up a session. I can help because, it's actually a really good question. And I'm going to be coming up with more resources down the road to help you figure out what schools are a good fit for you and what's the best place where you could go. It's a really big, interesting question. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please like and subscribe. And check out my free resources. I've got a quiz for parents. I've got an ebook on how to massively reduce stress in the college admissions process. And I've got a lot of videos. That's it for now. I'm Dr. Meg. I'll see you soon.